new people in the room yesterday and today, and some new guests with us today. Maybe we'll start by just talking a little bit about your journey in Forever and how it started and what you were doing before.
So, by the early 1990s, I'd already had a successful 7-year career in the city. And then I set up my own business in financial services that went bust due to the crash of the early 1990s when interest rates went up to 15–16%. And I lost everything, I mean literally everything. So I had to go back to work again, but I already knew two things. Number one, I didn't like working for someone else. And the second thing I knew was, even though I'd lost a huge chunk of money in a traditional business, I still knew I wanted to do something for myself. And then a friend invited me to go along to a meeting with him, and it wasn't Forever, it was actually with another company. And I went along, and I saw the numbers. It was a bit like a conversion. I was converted. And I saw network marketing, I saw the ability to be able to multiply your time rather than swap your time for money, which of course is what we're all really brought up to do. We are...
In a traditional job, yeah.
Yeah, groomed isn't really the right word in this current climate, but we're all brought up to be employees. Nobody actually, when you're in school, says you can be an entrepreneur.
No, I mean our education system is pretty much geared that way. Get a good qualification, go to university, get a degree, and you'll have a good job.
Which is what my parents told me.
Yeah, mine too.
And then I saw network marketing, and I thought, crikey, this thing is amazing, because instead of swapping your time for money, you can actually multiply your time. And you know, it was John Curtis who said, it doesn't matter whether you're employed by the council to drill holes in the road, or whether you're a highly paid private dentist drilling holes in teeth. If you're not drilling, you're not earning.
Yeah.
And to me, that just sums up what being an employee or even self-employed is all about, because even 99.9% of self-employed people aren't able to multiply or leverage their time, which we can do in Forever, in network marketing, in this great industry and with this fantastic company.
Yeah, even in the world of being entrepreneurial, I think if you're a small business, one-man band, you're absolutely right. The business owns you rather than you own the business. When you're away on holiday, everything stops and you don't make the money. This is one of the few places, apart from perhaps a songwriter or an artist, author, where you can leverage your time.
Yeah. So I went along. I actually got involved with that company for 2 years, very part-time, and I was dreadfully unsuccessful. I mean, in 2 years, I sponsored one person.
Okay.
And but it reached a point with that company where I wanted to leave because I didn't feel comfortable with their ethics, and I didn't feel comfortable with the way they did business and with the products. Because over 2 years, I'd been to all the trainings, read all the books, listened to all the cassette tapes, as they were then, and I'd fallen in love with the industry. But I realized that that company didn't have a consumable, repeatable product range, and I realized that to be successful in network marketing, you really needed to have a consumable, repeatable product, because otherwise, people who just want to make a few £100s a month by retailing can't do that. Yeah. They're basically turned into salespeople. If you have a product that lasts for 3 years, where are your retail customers going to come from to get repeat orders?
Constantly having to find new customers, and not many people can do that, I guess.
Yeah. So left that company, looked at loads of other companies, and I'm not knocking these companies when I say that, but you know, I looked at companies like Amway and Herbalife. They just weren't the right companies for me. I mean, great companies in their own right, but just not right for me. And I looked at loads of companies that have been and gone, and the lesson I learned from that is, if somebody turns up with a nice shiny new toy of a company and says, we are the best thing since sliced bread, get in at the beginning with us, there's no guarantee that company's still going to be here in 5 years' time. In fact, probably 7 out of 10 out of those companies went bust, and the other 3 launched in the UK with a massive fanfare, and a couple of years later, gone. Yeah. They disappeared, they'd gone off to pastures new, and they'd left their UK distributors in limbo, literally in limbo.
That's why I love recommending the book we talked about earlier on, the business of the 21st century, because in the back of the book, as you know, there's that tick list of what you should look for in a multi-level company, and we tick all those boxes.
Yeah, well, in fact, all the books I've read on network marketing, they say you don't have to be in at the beginning to be successful. In fact, it's better to look for a legacy company, a company that's still going to be around to pay your bonuses in 5 years, in 10 years, in 50 years' time. I mean, I fully intend to be around. In fact, my girlfriend has said I have to be around until I'm 106 and a half so that she gets the next 50 years of her life with me. That's how great I am.
106 and a half. Man, you need some of that B12 and stuff Patrick was talking about, man, I think. So, having not made a success of the first company, what did you do differently when you joined Forever? Was it the fact that you felt comfortable with it this time?
Yeah, I mean, I was taken along to a meeting by a lady called Deborah Lloyd, who's my sponsor, with my ex-wife back then, and we looked at Forever, and I recognised aloe vera. I mean, I thought, I know what this is. I mean, I didn't really know much about it. And she arranged for me to have a meeting with the dearly departed Dusty Green.
Yeah.
So I went along to this meeting with Dusty, and we were probably talking for 3.5 hours, and all the companies I'd been to see up until that point had promised me that I'd be making tens of thousands of pounds within a very short space of time, and I didn't believe a word they said, because I knew that in network marketing it's the same as anything else. You have to build your foundation strongly. Build your foundation strong, and it'll always be there. Yeah. And when I went along to Dusty and met with Dusty, he said one thing that really resonated with me, and he said, Adam, I can promise you, you won't get rich quick, but you will get rich. Yeah. And I just thought, I like this guy. He's straight talking, he's honest. And that's exactly what I found throughout Forever. I mean, every exchange I've had with Dusty, or with Rex, or with Greg, or with Aidan, or with Bootsy. Sorry, Bootsy, if you're backstage there.
You can probably just about still call him that. Now he's VP.
Just about. I wasn't sure. I did ask him if I could call him
marginal,
Bootsy.
But you might be all right.
Exactly. But they've always been honest. You know, they've never said there's a quick way to make money. There's always said there's a proper way to make money, but they've never said there's a quick way to make money. Yeah. And you know, we see people come and go. We see people developing quick businesses, but a year or two down the line, that quick business has disappeared because they didn't put the foundations in place properly.
So what was your progression like after you got started?
Well, although I understood network marketing, I didn't really understand the products very much, so we did the same thing, I guess, that everyone does. I was kind of ignorance on fire, spoke to everyone about the product. Yeah. Right from day one, even though I hadn't had any results, I knew it was important to get off to a quick start, spoke to everyone and said, listen, I don't know if it's going to work, but there's this aloe stuff. And John and Jane will tell you, when we started, the only literature we had was in Chinese. Oh. So we couldn't even read anything about aloe unless we went to a library. Does anyone remember libraries? Or we bought a book on aloe vera, but we had nothing. So we were ignorance on fire with regards to the products, and I just knew that the more people I spoke to about the product and the more people I spoke to about the opportunity, the more chance I had of growing a fast business.
So would that be perhaps your first tip really to anybody new in the audience here, that yes, of course, knowledge over time is really important, but you don't have to wait till you know everything to get started. It's mainly about the enthusiasm.
Absolutely. In fact, I would say that we reach a point of diminishing returns with the amount of knowledge we have. Okay. Because what we try and do, we gather all this knowledge, and then we think, you know what, if my prospect could just understand everything I understand, then they'd be on board. So what we do is we take this knowledge that it might have taken us weeks or months to gather.
Dump it on the prospect.
And then we go along and we have a one-to-one and we just dump it on. I mean, it's a bit like turning up to university on your first day and your tutor staggers in with an armful of books and dumps it on the table in front of you and says, I'll see you in 3 years for your finals. Yeah. And that's what we do. So very often, the more knowledge that we have, the more, sometimes the more of a drawback it can be. Yeah. So you don't need to know everything. You can get started straight away and never be afraid to say, I don't know the answer to that. Yeah. You know, people make the mistake of thinking that if somebody asks a question they don't know the answer to, they should fluff their way through it. The best answer to a question you don't know the answer to is to say, I'm really sorry, I don't know the answer, but I'll find out for you.
Yeah. And so your second tip there, I guess, is to drip feed information rather than dump information. And that's the process you would use if you were talking to me as a prospect for the first time.
Absolutely. I mean, Diana went through the cycle brilliantly yesterday when she was talking about the new Your Future video, but it is, all we do is take people through this information gathering cycle, and at some stage people either say yes it is for me, or no it's not for me, and either one of those is fine. I mean, we're not in the business of convincing or persuading or closing people into the business. We're in the business of getting the opportunity in front of as many pairs of eyeballs as possible, and we just drip feed them. And the other thing to remember is that the more time people invest in investigating the opportunity, the more likely they are to reach a point of no return where they think, you know what, I've invested all of this time in investigating, I can't really say no now.
Yeah.
So it is also getting people not just to invest that £200, but getting people to invest time. That's equally as important as the money, because they will reach that point where they say, I'm in.
Yeah, yeah. So how long did it take you to establish an income that, you know, made it really worthwhile?
Joined in August, so this August will be my 24th
93 you were, weren't you?
Anniversary, yeah.
August 93, okay.
And was a supervisor by the end of September, an assistant manager by the end of October, and a manager by the end of November, and a senior manager by the end of March.
Which was massively fast.
It was fast, and I was lucky.
Yeah, give them a round of applause, that's incredible. Particularly when, if you could go back in time and look at the infrastructure and support that was in place in 93 in the UK, it was zero. We had zero meetings going on pretty much anywhere. As you said, the literature was in Chinese or, you know, a very basic format. Probably most significantly, I think there were no success stories, particularly in the UK, that you could introduce a guest to as evidence that this worked. I mean, that was really fast.
Yeah, I mean, our business presentation, I don't know if you remember, we had a presentation that was on massive canvas sheets.
It was
about that
like
big.
doing that, yeah.
And we literally turned the canvas sheets over because it had the marketing plan on. That was our business presentation. The other thing, of course, is that you know that beautiful yellow bottle we have, the gel bottle with the brown writing on? Every single product was that colour.
Yeah,
every tube,
tubes
every bottle.
all yellow.
So when people come to me saying, oh, you know, if only the packaging was better, I could sell a bit more. Okay.
I still have a couple of those early tubes, the yellow tubes, in my office.
Do you?
Yeah,
yes, you do. They're in your,
I've got
they're in
quite
your show
an
cabinet.
archive of stuff now from the old days, including our original Forever magazine in black and white. And
yeah, I know.
good pictures.
I look like Harry Potter, don't I?
we both look a tad younger, absolutely.
I seem to remember you had a moustache.
I did, a little like a Mexican moustache, yeah, but they were very fashionable back then. I just want you to know before you say it.
Yeah.
So senior manager inside a year, less than a year.
Yeah.
You then, at some point, I don't quite know when myself, you started international expansion at some stage because most of the Scandinavian business is in your downline.
Yes, I'm fortunate that 95% of Scandinavia, all 4 Scandinavian countries, are in my business, so yeah. Through 2 amazing legs. But I was able to go full-time in July 1995, so a 2 years after starting with Forever. Went on my first rally ever.
Where was that?
It was to Dallas, and I can remember I'd met Rex the previous year because we'd had our first ever UK rally, and there were 80 people in the room.
Yeah.
But in those days, we were in about 60 countries, and Rex used to go to every single country because every country had its
an annual rally, didn't it?
National rally, yeah. So Rex must have been on the road 250 days a year. I say on the road, in the air. And the following year, I went to Dallas, and remember, Rex must have met tens of thousands of distributors all around the world by then. And I saw Rex walking across the atrium of the hotel in Dallas. And he saw me, and he changed direction, came over, and he walked straight up to me and put out his hand and say, "Hi, Adam, how are you?"
Yeah, he's amazing. Incredible memory.
But I just thought...
Incredible.
Where else in the world would the head of an amazing company like this recognise you? And, you know, ever since then I've seen, and I know Rex is getting on, as we all are, we've all aged a bit since we started. I know Rex, but you know what? Up until a couple of years ago, every single rally, you'll remember this, there would be thousands of people queuing to have their photo taken with Rex.
He would know them.
We would all be had left the rally, we'd be in the bar partying, having drinks now. Rex would be on the stage having his picture taken with every single person that wanted to.
Yeah.
And that's why I never turn down a photo with somebody, because that's the example that Rex sets us all, and that's how we should all be.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. One of the most visual representations I've ever seen of being able to travel and enjoy the rallies is one that you did, where you've kept all your lanyards from the various rallies and you brought them on stage one time. I'll never forget it. There were literally hundreds of places that you visited there, which is, you know, one of the additional benefits of, I guess, being part of Forever.
I mean, I'm sure everyone here would love to see more of the world, and when I joined Forever, I'd seen a small part of the world. I'd been to the States, I'd been to, I'd actually lived in Africa when I was a kid. I'd been to Malaysia because I had a Malaysian girlfriend, and that's about it, really. I mean, we never went on holiday abroad with my parents. We always caravanned around the UK, so we were Jeremy Clarkson's nightmare. But when I joined Forever, from 1995 to today, you know, Forever's taken me as far north as Alaska. I've seen the white whales, the beluga whales, chasing salmon up an inlet in Alaska, and with John and Jane, I've been to Vancouver. I've been all over America. I mean, literally up and down both coasts and the bits in the middle. I've been to Mexico about 8 times. I mean, all over Mexico, not just Cancun. I've been to Brazil 3 times, Rio 3 times. I've been to Manaus, which is about 1,000 kilometers up the Amazon, where the Rio Negro joins the Amazon, and for about 10 kilometers they don't mix. Half of it's black and half of it's yellow. And
I don't know whether you remember an incident in Manaus, but
I don't remember that.
Okay, let me remind you, because this I'll never forget this. The river floods, as you know, and there are lakes that are made and left there because of the flooding, and we were in a small boat, me and you, with a guide and a couple of others, and you asked whether it was safe to swim in that part of the water, and the guide said, "Yep, no problem, no crocodiles or alligators or anything," and you leapt in the water. And one of us spotted about 400 yards away this great big croc or alligator snoozing on the riverbank. I've never seen you get out of the water so fast in my entire life. You were like an exocet.
Yes. Sorry, I thought you were going to talk about the other story.
Not the other incident, no. This is a family show.
No, I remember that one. Yeah, that's a good one, yeah.
What are the key messages that you give to your team about how they should structure their business and build their business?
I think, I mean, I hope everyone here knows about 4Core, which is which the company has actually spent years developing as the key bits of how to build a business. And it's recruitment, retention, productivity, and development. And we all know about recruitment.
Yeah.
But recruitment is completely wasted unless you retain your distributors. Now, obviously, in any volunteer organization like this, there will be a number of dropouts.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the way it is. It's like, you know, joining the gym and then not turning up after the first session in January, but keeping your subscription going all year. So it happens. But so to retain your people, what people don't make the connection with is retention and productivity. I mean, I loved Caroline's presentation earlier, talking about being 4 to 6 case credit active, and she was saying that an assistant supervisor can make roughly a £300 a month profit. If you help people become productive, then you retain them, you keep them in the business, because if somebody is retailing 4 case credits, which is what I always tell my team, focus your 4 case credits on retail, they're making, let's say, 300 quid retail profit. Even if they use a case credit themselves, which actually means they're now doing 5 case credits, but even if they use a case credit themselves, they're getting that case credit for free. Plus, they're still making about £2,000 a year income.
Yeah.
And who's going to leave a £2,000 a year regular repeating income and getting some amazing products that you've fallen in love with for free? And and people don't make that connection between retention and productivity. And it's so important that the two are inextricably linked. You cannot separate one from the other, and that's always what I coach in the team.
Yeah. So in the team, what sort of advice would you give around the recruitment area, for example? Do you say, you know, people should sponsor 1 or 2, or how does that?
Well, I think every single person in this room, and I include myself, I include John and Jane and everyone else, we should all be aiming to recruit a minimum of 2 people a month. Yeah. Because you can handle 2 people a month, because we know probably one of those 2 are not going to do anything. They might, but one of the things we need to get better at as well is getting people to fall in love with the products.
Yeah.
So one of the things I suggested to my team recently is, why don't we do product information evenings, where you get 3 or 4 new distributors along. It's not a sales thing, you're not trying to sell product. They could even bring 1 or 2 of their top customers. But in that environment, you can safely share stories and testimonials about the product.
Yep.
And we know, research has shown that if you are talking to somebody and they're experiencing it at the same time, they retain 65% of that 3 days later. So do things like getting them to take their shoes and socks off and rubbing propolis cream in their right heel, but not in their left heel. And then a minute later, seeing the difference in heels. Now, you have to use your right heel. It doesn't work if you use your left heel.
Really? It's pretty scientific.
Hashtag, this is how misinformation is spread around by people not thinking properly. No, you can use any heel. But, you know, product information evenings, get people to understand. I mean, bring in some of the stuff, that amazing stuff that Patrick's just been talking about. And you can share it safely in that kind of environment because, you know, we are becoming so compliance-driven that I think we've forgotten to be proud of the products that we have and the difference they can make in people's lives. And I think it's time we stood up and made a difference.
Absolutely. Well said. Big check hanging around behind us. What's your total so far in chairman's bonus? Do you know?
Probably somewhere around 3 million US, but putting it in proper money, about £2 million maybe.
£2 million. Whoa. Just in chairman's bonus.
Just in chairman's bonus.
Nothing to do with your monthly check.
No.
Just reinforces the significance of the chairman's bonus program in terms of being able to seriously change your life when you've got chunks of money like that.
Yes.
I mean, every year. It's an incredible, generous program that I've not seen in any other company.
No. No, there isn't any other company because other companies are not privately owned, so they have to provide value to shareholders, you know, with dividends or whatever it is they have to spend the money on. If we were quoted on the stock market, we definitely wouldn't have the chairman's bonus program because that would be the first shaving off the top to go to pay dividends.
Shareholders, yeah, absolutely. Incredible, yeah. So, chairman's bonus,
yep.
One of your big achievements, being the first diamond sapphire eagle anywhere in the world was another major achievement and a proud moment for the UK last year.
It was.
And there, to my mind, I don't know whether you would agree, probably the 2 biggest game-changing incentives that Forever have created over the years, Eagle and Chairman's.
Yes, absolutely. And I think Eagle is a great program, but Eagle only works if you're not chasing the pin, if you're building solid manager legs. Because when
what do you mean by that, just for the benefit of the new people?
Okay, for the benefit of new people, if you're a senior manager, in order to qualify for the Eagle program, you have to have not just yourself qualify for Eagle, you have to have at least one of your manager legs qualify for Eagle.
Yeah.
At any depth, it doesn't have to be, you
yeah.
know, so as long as you've got an Eagle manager in one leg. But if you don't build your manager legs properly, if you get to senior manager because you're intent on promoting out manager legs that aren't really manager legs, it means that you then won't qualify for Eagle. So soaring manager, I think you need 3 manager legs. So you've developed 5, but 3 of them, you need to have an Eagle manager in each. Sapphire is even more difficult, and Diamond Sapphire, I think you need 10.
Yeah.
So it's important to build strong legs.
Yeah, not try and short-circuit the process, but
absolutely
get solid foundations.
I mean, I worked out the other day, I did a little video to my team, and I worked out that if you were doing 100 case credits in Open, and you had and you were a senior manager, they were doing 100, and they were senior managers, and so on. So just 3 generations of senior managers all doing 100 in Open. You're a senior manager, you'd be making £10,000 a month just as a senior manager if you focus on the 100 Club. And I think everyone needs to focus, if you're a manager, everyone needs to focus back on the 100
yeah.
Club.
And of course, again, that's, I think, unique to the UK, the 100 Club, or UK and Ireland, and part of the leadership team strategy was to get people to focus more on their open business, and it's absolutely paid off.
Yeah.
What's the costliest mistake you've ever made in Forever?
Getting married.
Really?
And divorced. Twice.
That sounds expensive.
Yes.
We'll skip past that, I think, because we don't want to, you know, lower your mood in the room here. One final question. How, for the benefit of the newer, not yet established business owners, how do you see the future of Forever here in the UK?
I think the future of Forever in the UK is incredible. I mean, if you look at the number of people who are 4Case credit active,
Yeah.
so we're 63 million people,
Yeah.
and last month there were 2,500 people in the whole population of 63 million people were 4Case credit active last
It's
month.
about double the size of this audience, that's all.
I mean,
Incredible.
how can you not see the potential to build a business in all that?
Yeah.
And the same globally. I mean, we're a legacy company. You know, the great thing that everyone in the room, I'm sure, understands is that the company's still going to be here in 10 years, 20 years, 50 years' time to either pay you your bonus or your kids your bonus, because unlike most companies, your income is also willable.
Yeah, which is a unique feature of our plan, I think, and perhaps something that we don't make enough of, because we've got some great examples already of people that have inherited the business from their parents and continue to earn very nicely as a result of that.
Yeah.
It's been great to get little insight into the life of Adam May, don't you think? Okay, let's give it up for Diamond Sapphire manager Adam May.